Grimerica snakes! You are listening to Brothers of the Serpent Podcast.
Is that the intro?
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, angels and demons, monsters and serpents, to Brothers of the Serpent Podcast, coming to you not live and live from the 10 by 10 by 10 tangent cube of science, nestled amongst the dusty bones of an ancient seabed high atop the Everest Plateau. We got Darren D-Ron from Grimerica in here. Sup, cuck?
Hey guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so he flew down from Scandinavia to hang out for the weekend, and we just been chilling. We're gonna go shoot some guns, do some Texas stuff with a Canadian.
That's right.
Yeah. But we wanted to get in the cube and do a little podcasting because we're all podcasters here.
And this way I can win the $5 bet with Graham.
That's right. $5 won.
$5 won.
Coming my way, Graham. We are here podcasting.
That's right. That's right. Snake Bros don't mess around with that. We always make sure we get the podcasts in.
It helps that everything's set up already.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah, we didn't have to. Yeah, we're just in the cube.
So this is your first time going live from the cube?
It is. Yeah.
Yep.
There
I
you
think
go.
so. Yeah, this is the first.
Kind of on a sketchy cell phone. But
Yeah. Hey,
is
Grimerica
anyone
peeps.
watching?
I don't know.
10 people, it looks like.
Oh.
9.
9.
Someone's like, fuck this. It's a weird time. I mean, I could see people having better things to do on a Saturday than
Yeah.
than us.
Most of the Snake Force is out doing, I was talking to them on the Discord, and they're all out looking at ancient sites and finding arrowheads and stuff too, so that's cool.
I seen Brandon was out looking at stuff in Montana.
Yeah, Brandon's doing his...
Shouldn't it be winter in Montana?
It is, yeah. I think it
Seems
is.
like, you know...
Did you just check your watch to look for winter?
Yeah, but it's fire. My watch is still on Calgary weather.
Oh,
So it's 4 degrees in Calgary.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's, what is it, like 60 here?
It's 18
Yeah, it's 18
Celsius.
Celsius,
For
okay. Yeah.
Celsius folks.
All right, yeah, I don't
Which
even
would
know
be-
what that means.
Well, so for,
It's 18 silliness.
for a rough idea, I mean, you can get pretty close just timesing it by 2 and adding 32.
Oh, hey, that's a great trick.
You'll be a little high because it's actually 1.8,
Okay,
but 2 is close enough.
cool.
So 50 Celsius would be
132.
132 Fahrenheit.
Ah.
Hey,
So like for me,
Thanks, buddy.
Canadians would be dying at 40 Celsius, which would really be less than 112.
Yeah, 112. A
Yeah.
little less than 112.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
which
if
we
it
have.
gets to 40 in Calgary, it's like, holy fuck.
Yeah, we have had days like that here. So,
Yeah, we deal with that
yeah,
every year.
quite often.
I was in Phoenix a couple of years ago golfing, and it went up to like 38, which would probably be, in that 105 range.
Yeah.
And I could barely survive it. Like,
Yeah.
it was like, whoa, man, this is intense. I
Yeah,
had like a wet towel around the back of my neck the whole time.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Wet your clothes. That's
yeah.
basically
Stay in the river. It's one way we deal with it here is.
But there's no water in Phoenix.
Yeah, true. It's
Yeah.
the middle
How
of the
did
desert.
people end up there? Right?
Crystals. I don't know. We gotta stop here because there's crystals here.
Because I don't think, yeah, it's gonna be hard to survive in Phoenix, man. In like July,
Yeah,
you need air conditioning.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, think of the name. That's why they named it that.
Yeah.
Because every year they burn and die,
right.
and then they're reborn.
It's like Burning Man. It's
Yeah.
like living at Burning Man.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Yeah.
yeah. So I wanted to talk to you about podcasting. How did
So that's why you have to compress the shit out of it, because all the levels are so low.
Yeah, I keep the levels pretty low, and
So
then
that's why you don't have the Dunlop mouth noises.
that's right. Yeah, so I keep the levels low, and then I have a sidechain compressor that I bus everything out to. So it's a single compressor. I bus everything out. and then-
audiophile baseball, inside baseball. Here,
yeah,
folks.
and then the bumper music is on a sidechain compressor. That's what I meant. In other words, when you talk, if there's music playing, the music gets smashed by your talking. So
and it's
then
audio. Yeah, it happens live.
that
basically.
way you can have the music playing in the background, but you can always understand what the
Mhm.
what the words are.
Yeah.
So, but I learned that from a guy that did EDM, like he made
So I just fade because I'm
Riley.
I just fade out my music on my mixer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise
But
you.
most of it I do in post, like because I put all the actual bumper music in post.
Oh, okay, yeah. We
And
like to
I
have.
do have the ability to do it, but the reason I can is because I always add the little clip from the intro into the
Right,
the
yeah, I
intro
noticed
bumper music from the interview, so I don't have that technically
That's true.
ready. I could, and we do the interview and the intro at different times, so it's not like I can bumper into the intro. I mean, I guess I could if we had the music ready. I could have the song picked out, but then it would get weird because then the guest would just have to wait a minute. It's like, okay, we're gonna play the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we like to be. I like to have the music going when you're talking through the intro and stuff, so that it's more realistic. You know.
Yeah.
You know. That way you're not. Welcome back, folks. While this badass music is playing really loud in the background, you're
That's
like, "Hey, what's going on, people?" You know, like I think that's how Adam does it. You hear him, you know, when he comes in on No Agenda, he's shouting over the music he's playing live.
Yeah.
You know, and it gives you that sort of energetic entry. That's
We're
I
not
like that.
energetic. We have lazy ramblings.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but the Grimerica Podcast. How long you guys been doing it now? What's the?
I guess it'll be. Has it been? It'll be 7 years in
Me?
May.
For 7 years you do the podcast.
7 years in May. Yeah. It'll be 400. The 400th show comes out next week.
Ah,
Next
wow.
Friday.
That's a big deal. 400.
Yeah. So I'll actually probably have to. I'm gonna have to wait to release this until after show 400 comes out. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm gonna mess up the 400th episode column.
But how did you guys get started? Like you both work at the same place, and you kind of tell the story.
Yeah, well, it started because Graham got me listening to podcasts. I was sort of sick of listening to. I drive a lot for my job, and Graham came to work there, and I was like, I'm sick of the fucking radio.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, you got to check out these podcasts. So I started listening to podcasts. That would have been probably 2012, beginning of 2012, maybe late 2011. Started listening to podcasts. I got pretty into those, and then we went to the Paradigm Symposium in 2012.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And met Eric Von Daniken and Micah Hanks and Giorgio Tsoukalos and all those guys. And then right when we came back from that, I was like, you know, I'd met a bunch of these podcasters.
Yeah.
When you're listening to them, at least when I first started listening to podcasts, I just pictured it as something different. You know, you assume everyone has 1 million listeners, and it just the whole thing seemed kind of intimidating. And then you went and met all these people, and they were just normal people. So it's just like, oh, fuck, we could totally do this. So it took a while to convince Graham, because he was like, nah, I don't think so. And then I was like, okay, well, we'll start with a website. So we started the Grimerica website on December 21st, 2012. That's when we made the YouTube, the YouTube channel, the web page, the Facebook page, all that stuff.
You're like, I got a brilliant plan. Let's start our podcast at the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And well, I mean, honestly, I had just had some loss in my life too. My cousin had died like a week before that, on December 14th. So I was like grieving and all that. And so, I mean, in retrospect, a lot of it was probably distraction. It's just bury myself in the computer for a week or 2 weeks.
Build
and
a
make
website.
and a Facebook page and all that.
Yeah.
And then from there, I mean, it was always planning to be a podcast in my head, I think by then. And then it took about 3 months to get Graham really on board with the podcast.
Okay.
And then we started like brainstorming it and all that sort of stuff. It took us a bit to figure out all the logistics of it, what kind of show we were going to do.
Yeah.
Originally, we were just going to do a show where it was just us blabbing. And I mean,
us.
Yeah, I don't know if we would have made it as far as we did with all our like other commitments, trying to do all the research, and the books and everything else. But and then I was like listening to this we were going to do an episode on Mars. I remember our first episode be on Mars. So I started listening to this other podcast by this Ephraim Palermo guy. He only had 3 or 4 episodes, but it was all on these stains on Mars he had discovered.
Okay.
That he said were water, that everyone said he was crazy for, which in 2013 or 2014, it turned out that he was right.
He's right. Yeah.
He was saying this back in 2001. And I was like, you know what, why don't we just interview Ephraim?
Yeah.
Instead of me taking all these notes, like,
Yeah.
you know, I'll try and get a hold of Ephraim and see if he just wants to come on the show. And right away he was like, yeah, no problem. I'd love to.
Yeah, you're like, it's our pilot episode.
Yeah.
We have 0 listeners.
Yeah, and he was like, and I mean, in a lot of ways, you have Ephraim to thank for that.
That's
because
cool,
if
man.
your first couple of guests are like, no.
Yeah.
And it's like, all of a sudden it starts to get tricky to try and
Yeah,
get this thing off the ground. So then we're like, yeah, well, let's do an interview show then. And then we can talk to all these people. And I mean, you know, it'll be great. This is a perfect idea. It's an excuse to start talking to people.
Right.
So yeah, Ephraim said yes. So we interviewed him. And in the beginning, we couldn't even, I mean, I remember, so Graham would deny it. But like, it was so hard to drag this guy kicking and screaming into making a podcast. Like, when finally I convinced him to start making the podcast, he's like, no. He's like, all right, but I'm going to use a pseudonym.
Oh, yeah.
He was
An
gonna,
alias.
He was going to be the Possibilionist Genome. And I'm like, so people are going to be like, so Possibilionist. Or what are they going to call you? Genome? Or what's like, how's a guest going to interact with you?
Yeah.
And then finally he was like, it seems weird to ask people to come on the podcast if I'm not using a real name.
Yeah.
So we just ended up going with his real name. And finally made the podcast, and I think we recorded the first episode probably April 2013. And then released it. Just a lot of editing and all that for the first few. There was a ton of editing. I don't edit at all now. But there's a lot more umming and on in the beginning too. Get edited out. So the confidence gets up and the skill gets up, and there's just less to edit anyway. But in the beginning, I was super nervous about it all.
Yeah.
So you're editing out and listening and edit and listen and edit and listen and yeah, and then so that was it. And I mean, we were lucky. Our first show, we had a couple people share it, and the first episode got downloaded like 120 times.
Oh yeah, that's a big boost.
So like right out of the gate, we had 100 listeners.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, I don't know if that's how it works for most people. We were lucky. Micah was sharing it, and a couple people. So right away, you had.
Yeah. So the people from Paradigm people were helping you out, and Micah Hanks is already a big podcaster.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Okay.
So he was able to give us a little boost up.
Yeah.
And then, here we are.
Yeah.
7 years later, and the audience has just kept growing, and the community grows, and it's monetized to a certain extent, and
and you're following the value for value system. Basically, you guys don't do ads. We don't do ads.
So I think it's even we've kind of hybridized the value for value system.
Okay.
And I think like the next step of that is like as we start to expand our whatever it is, community and everything else, like we started doing the conferences.
Yeah.
It was like instead of monetizing the audience, which is what I think ads do, you turn your audience into the product.
Yeah.
You know, so because the value for value model has its limitations. Like unfortunately, we do only get a 1% support rate.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm good friends with other podcasters that are, you know, making a good living at this. And whereas Graham and I still have to work full time.
Right.
Because it's a slower slug when you're
not doing ads.
1% or less than that. And well, it's not even just the ads, it's the other models. Like I don't think the ads are the most lucrative model. I think the paywall is the most lucrative model.
Okay.
So the cut the interview in half, or the mysterious universe, the THC, that model of you get more for your dollar. Like we kind of do that with the black budget, but honestly, we're not that committed to it, which we never wanted to be.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like when you do that, then it becomes a lot more work. And it's just like half your content now is just getting made for not so many people, which doesn't seem like it's worth it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Some days. So, not that you don't love the supporters, but it's like, well, how do you decide which guest is only worth the 1%?
Yeah.
You know, so by the way, you're only going out to 1% of the audience.
Yeah.
And
who's that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the Grimerica phone. I don't know what happens if someone calls the phone that's streaming.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily, I'm on your Wi-Fi. Otherwise, this stream would be costing us hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
It's $1.50 for 10 megabytes.
Oh, wow.
On data once my package is over.
Oh, wow.
On that phone because it's
we got unlimited, so
unlimited Wi-Fi. Yeah. We could stream all night.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
not gonna happen, though.
So you think that the like the mysterious universe model is the most lucrative version of podcasting?
Yeah.
But I agree with you that, like, because Kyle and I's our idea for the podcast is it's an ongoing conversation. We're less guest heavy. We do more deep dives into stuff. And so, like, if you listen, you can listen to our episodes basically from the beginning until now, and it's sort of an ongoing thing. We learn stuff as we go, and we keep talking about that new stuff, and those are added into the conversation, so you can kind of listen to them as a series. And we were talking about this, and it's like if we had subscribed content that was like premium content that people didn't hear unless they subscribed to some sort of service and they paid us $9 a month or whatever, like a Serious Universe, then it would be hard as you keep going to remember what did we talk about in the public show versus the premium show.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know, like, do I have to re-explain this to these public members because we only did this on the premium? So that model isn't going to work for us pretty much, as far as I know.
Yeah, well, I think that's now, instead of making the audience the product, then you make yourself the product.
Right, yeah.
And then once you make yourself the product, I think you lose a lot of the community.
That's right, yeah.
So you lose that, which seems to come with the value for value model.
Right,
Yep.
There's that community, yeah.
All the people I talk to, and I'm pretty plugged into the community, so I'm talking to people that are doing all the different models, and it seems like without exception, the value for value model seems to come with this whole sense of community and helping out, and artists are stepping up, and
Yeah,
you
you
know,
guys
all
have...
run the newsletter, all do this, all do that. I mean, honestly, that's how we've kind of crossed paths.
Right,
That's right.
that's right, yeah.
It just sort of works out like that,
Yeah,
which seems to be a thing with the value for value model. And I think the next step to that is like, so I don't want to be the product, and I don't want to make the listeners the product.
yeah,
So then it's like but at the same time, we have these ideas like conferences and stuff like that.
right, yeah.
So instead, we'll come up with these other products, and we'll use
Right.
the show as a platform to talk about them from time to time. Like, hey, we're doing these Contact at the Cabin event.
Yeah,
And I mean, now we're sort of tiptoeing into audiobook production,
yeah,
which gives us ability to the stuff that we actually produce, because we're going to the stuff we're actually producing that we have the rights to. Now we can start dribbling that out, because we're recording it all anyway and editing
Right.
it all anyway. So now what happens is, if you're a supporter of the show, and that's only the books that we can get the rights to, because otherwise it's a copyright infringement if
Right,
someone else
yeah.
has the publishing rights.
yeah,
But we're working at it in such a way that we're going to end up with the publishing rights to a certain percentage of them, and those ones will get sort of dabbled out into the. So that's giving us extra content now to start giving to the
another
to
product.
the supporters.
Yeah, yeah,
And at the same time, to the people who aren't supporters, it's like, hey, go to the webpage and here's a button where you can buy an audiobook. And if
Yeah.
you buy that audiobook, it helps the show.
yeah. That's really cool.
So one of the things I've thought about in terms of advertising is partnerships, in such a way. In other words, like, I would be interested in having a partnership with a company that sells a product, if that product is something that we use and that we love and that we want to share. Like, dude, these people make a good product. Like, you gotta, if
So
you're
like
going,
more like native ads.
Yeah.
right, that, and then it would be a company that we have a relationship with.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then we're saying, hey guys, to our community, if you are in need of something like this, this is the company you should go with, because it's actually a good thing.
yeah.
and
This is what we use. Yeah,
I would be totally down to do that, and then do promo codes, like, where if they did it, we get it sort of a commission for the sale. That would be cool.
Yeah, I think we do a bit of that, but we just do it. If we find something like the Squatty Potty, everyone accused us of getting money from Squatty Potty. Squatty Potty never gave me any money. I just think it's an outstanding product. So we talk
Yeah,
about it
and
on the show.
we do that with Beyond Pod, which is the app that we use for podcasting. I'm
Yeah.
just like, we love this
if
app.
you have an Android, this is the app.
And I emailed them, and I was like, hey, we have a podcast, we promote your app, and so I was wondering if you guys could give us a promo code for our listeners to get a discount on your app if they come from our show
They
or
said
whatever.
no.
And they were just like, we don't do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys, they were like, thank you so much, but no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yeah, we tried to strike up a deal with them, and they were just like, no.
yeah.
Not happening.
No.
Yeah.
But there are companies out there that will do that.
Yeah.
They just have to be something that we use, because we're not gonna promote stuff that we don't know anything about.
I don't use a Squatty Potty, so
Yeah.
Once you go squatty, you don't go back. That's it.
I mean, out in the woods, yeah, but there's no device that I need for it.
Yeah.
Well, it just helps you squat when you're not out in the woods.
Oh, okay.
So when you're on your toilet,
Oh,
it goes
yeah.
around the toilet at the bottom, and when you're pooping, you put your legs up. So it mimics what you would have done before you had a toilet.
Yeah, okay.
Because sitting on the toilet's not like
Not the best position.
not the best position to empty your intestines.
I got it.
Yeah.
You heard it here second, folks.
Same with Audible, like we talk about Audible all the time. And actually, there's an easy thing you can do to set up for Audible. Like, you can do the Audible promo code thing pretty easy.
Oh,
But we just never
have.
No.
Yeah,
it's-
people have asked it because since we're always.
You know why? Because fuck Amazon.
Yeah.
They're an evil corp.
That's yes. So we get both sides of that because Kyle and I do book reports, and of course we're always like, you should go buy this book, and then people write us and say, hey, you should have one of those Amazon things where people can go to your Amazon site, buy the book through that, and you guys get a little bit of kickback from that. And then I read that email on the show, and then we get other emails from people like, Amazon is totally evil, don't do that. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do here. Yeah.
I think the best bet is just not to take any corporate blood money. Because we had the Amazon affiliates and that, and we just kiboshed everything.
Okay.
So, no, I'm not helping Amazon.
All right. No
I do
no
use
Bezos.
Amazon products
Yeah.
because it seems unavoidable because
Right.
of how
They
managed
own
to
everything.
invade everything. But they don't need my help promoting their shit.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but we do know that small publisher, Inland Traditions.
Yes.
Inland or inner?
Inner.
Traditions, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm good friends with the president. I think he's the president, John Hayes.
Oh, okay, cool.
I
Yeah.
met him at the first paradigm.
Right.
First
Yeah.
or the second I met him at one of the paradigms.
Right.
And we had a great time.
Cool.
Do they send you guys books?
Yeah, they send us books like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've been sending us books for 7 years.
Nice.
Because I had Stanley Krippner on in the very beginning. He was our 3rd episode. And I had to go through Inner Traditions to have him on the show.
Right.
Ever since then, they started sending us books.
Yeah.
They're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I recommend them, and their books are great. They publish great stuff.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just got put on the list to start trying to do some audiobooks through them.
Oh man, that would be great. See, we
Yeah.
need to do that too. I'll take all your biz.
Yeah.
All your biz.
Russ works cheap.
That's right. $400, guys.
What did they charge you? All right.
Yeah.
10% less.
10% less than
Grimerica.
Darren will start doing it for free.
Yeah.
And then you'll be paying them.
And then I'll be paying them to do it. Yeah. Capitalism at work. Damn. Yeah. So I listened to you guys during the Paradigm years. I remember that. You guys talking about going. And didn't you actually try to go there and do live podcasting at the second one?
We did it at, because I went to 2. So at the second one, we did some live podcasts. We rented a bunch of gear.
Yep.
Set up a booth. Did a bunch of interviews.
Yeah.
It was a good time. Yeah. Cost a fortune.
Right.
But, in retrospect, it cost a bit of money.
Yeah.
But it would have been easier to do these days with supporters and stuff like that. Back then, we didn't have any supporters.
Yeah, okay.
So everything was out of pocket.
Right.
So mostly on Graham's credit card.
The guy who didn't want to do any podcasting.
Yeah.
Paid for it all.
Yeah. It took us years to pay back Graham.
Yeah.
Graham's credit card.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because you guys didn't start, because since we're musicians, we have all this equipment already. So basically,
we acquired everything from.
Yeah, when we decided to start the podcast, all I had to do was come down here, sit down on the cube, and start talking about pyramids. It was already all here, and Kyle already knew how to do everything because he's recording.
The first few shows we did would have been off headsets.
That's right. Yeah. And you guys had to do it in separate places because you didn't know how to connect 2 mics to Skype.
And then we slowly started getting
the equipment,
this and that. Once we got a mixer, we could do 2 mics.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes a monster.
Yeah.
Just like gear acquisition syndrome.
Yeah. Yep. You start looking at all the gear and you're.
Yeah, and then now it's like, well, because all the stuff I bought was bare base model, the cheapest I could get.
Yeah.
It's like, well, those compressors are nice.
Yeah.
EQ and but do you really need it for a podcast? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends on your style.
I'd like to mobilize it more, I think, if anything.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd like to make it more. I'd like to make it easier to go on the road.
Yeah. We do have a mobile version of our equipment.
It's not bad. It's
not too bad.
one suitcase.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right, and then of course, like, we need a monitor. That's the only thing. But like, I had contacted the cabin. They had a nice flat screen TV, so we just plugged into that.
Yeah. That's what we need, is a nice go bag. That
Yeah.
can just be like, boom, where you don't have to take all your mics and everything else, or everything's ready to go. I just got that little adapter finally, so I can hook the GoPro up to my laptop.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, because
With,
see,
like,
but
a
you guys are
50-foot
doing
reach.
video.
You guys do live video and stuff. We're
Yeah.
just an audio podcast.
And not live.
And not live. Yeah. And with pretty much zero interest in doing.
We
live.
should just go back to do that.
Yeah.
We should just
I think
stop.
you guys
Just shut
ought
it
to
off.
Just shut it down. Get out of here. I think you ought to try it for a couple of months, not streaming. You know, and then maybe, I don't know, all your listeners are going to hate me now. They're going to start flaming me in the chats.
I think I think we've come too far now.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys have people that expect it, so
Yeah.
very, you're trapped.
Just keep going. I mean, YouTube's a nice search algo to be in for as long as you can be there. We're gonna get kicked out eventually, I'm sure.
I think so. Yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
All it takes is
Grab
one
us a
person
little
to complain.
Too alt-right.
Didn't they just pass a some new thing where it's like if you offend somebody, they have the right to ban you?
Other people, oh, we're going with policing ourselves.
Yeah.
That's not gonna go well.
No, it's not going to
Too
go
many
well.
people get too butthurt too easy.
Yeah.
It's a real shame.
Yep. So have you had problems with that? Have you gotten really irate people trying to get into emailing you guys with content of shows? How do you handle that kind of stuff?
No, we don't. I just ignore it.
Yeah.
There's
Just ignore
always
it.
a little bit of it.
Yeah.
I mean, right now there's some blowback from the sugar app because Buddy said that sugar was fine.
You're calling it the sugar app now.
Yeah.
It's not even about sugar.
That's right. It's not even about sugar.
Right, but that's
just
what all
every
this-
fucking comment
Yeah.
and everything else is about. Buddy's two throwaway lines about sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that. The Trump stuff got pretty heated for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
You guys.
a while there, the Trump stuff came to a head.
Yeah.
Where there was people that had been listening to the show for a long time
That bailed.
that bailed or
Yeah.
got upset, or it fractured even relationships within the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys also get on guests that have very controversial views, even not in politics, like the vaccine stuff. You guys get on there. I mean, you get a flat earther on there. Like, you guys get you guys get controversial guests, so that inevitably results in controversy with your listeners. You're going to make, or the guests are going to upset people. So I just wonder, like, how do you have listeners that mostly can discriminate between the podcast and its views as opposed to the guests you're getting on? Just because you get a flat earther on doesn't necessarily mean you're promoting flat earth. Like,
I
most
think
people
for the
get that.
most part, we've got a pretty solid community.
Yeah.
And we're both pretty good at just. Okay, I'm getting a little alt-right. Just kidding, buddy.
Yeah, we were gonna call him, but he's not in the studio yet.
I don't know if I think that's kind of where that's the direction we ended up in, because we didn't ever have really a plan. We didn't ever, we were going to do paranormal or this or that, but we just left it at casual conversations, often on the fringe, and kind of left it with that. So it's open to talk to whoever we want, from musicians to everything else. And it just seems like those controversial conversations right now maybe are the most important ones.
Oh yeah, I
It's
totally
like
agree with that.
Getting people to be able to come around and talk about stuff and, not have everyone get fucking triggered right away.
Right.
Because you don't know shit.
Yeah.
Everybody listening. You
That's
know some
right.
stuff, but ultimately you don't know shit.
Yeah,
I don't know shit. These guys don't know shit.
that's right.
Everything that you think you know is probably going to be proved wrong in 100 years. So just fucking get over it.
Yeah.
Honestly, get over yourself. And then once you get past that,
It's
then
not hard to have a conversation.
it gets
Yeah.
easier to have a conversation, because
Controversial
it's like,
stuff.
yeah, okay, this sounds crazy, but I mean,
I
my
don't
shit
know.
probably sounds crazy to him. And
Yeah.
it's probably something even crazier.
Right. That's right. Yeah, we agree with that. We have a saying here that we're 99.5% wrong on everything we say, and all we have is certificates of ignorance, no degrees.
I mean, you look at like what's coming out with the Randall stuff right now that we're kind of you know, we're always talking
Yeah.
to Randall. You guys are doing the podcast with them. It's like we're at the precipice of that stuff coming to the front, and it's like,
Right.
you know, we're about to be proven wrong again. And you know what? Randall probably doesn't have it all figured out either. And then his research is going to get built on it. And in another 100 years, going to be like, oh, well, it was this too. Or, you know,
Yeah.
you know, it's just all these little bits and pieces. But I mean, ultimately, I think we're pretty, I don't think we know a whole lot.
I agree with
about
that.
anything. It's like, you know, this is still all just empty space, and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we were having the simulation conversation last night at dinner. He's like, this table isn't real.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I know.
It's, right?
Magnets. How do they work?
It's a weird thing when you start looking at the nature of reality.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so none of this shit's actually here,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. It's
We
just,
got it
it's
all
just a
figured
bunch
out.
of vibrations of different frequencies.
it's
man.
all just energy.
Yeah, that's right.
See, you know, maybe Bill Hicks is right. We're just the universe experiencing itself,
Yep.
subjectively.
That could be it.
It could be it.
We're all a piece of God
Yeah,
experiencing itself.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's the only way you could do it. And
Yeah.
that's why when you eat a bunch of psychedelics and shit, you feel those profound feelings of oneness.
Yeah,
Because
that's
you
right.
are all one.
Yep. You're more connected to stuff than it seems like when you're not in that state of mind.
We're more like ants than we think.
Well, I don't know about that.
I think so, man. Like when I fucking drive into work in the morning, just see fucking taillights for miles. You see the traffic in LA.
Yeah.
Then they all go down their little hole in the parkade.
Yeah, I mean that is true. The way that civilization is working has made certain things ant-like.
Mm-hmm. So
For
is
sure.
that like human nature? Is it more like a? Because the ants, I think it's pretty apparent that ants. I mean, I don't know if ants have individual consciousness. Maybe they do. I
Yeah.
don't know how their whole society is structured. Like, is it set up sort of
They
like
definitely
ours?
have a weird
They
remote
have
way
little
of communicating with
vendors
the
and they're
queen.
doing this and
Yeah.
they're doing that. Like, they're making all this crazy, intricate shit. So are we.
Yeah.
And it's all seems to be pushed forward for the greater good, air quotes.
So like the
Right.
internet is our queen, and it's telling all of us trolls
our
what to do.
queen's money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, money is. I
Money
guess
is a value.
our
Money's
queen is
prob-
prices.
Yeah, I think
Prices
we've
tell you
like
what to
made
do.
money a god, and that's kind of part of the problem.
Yeah, well, money is a representation of value, basically. So value is what is the god. It's
Mhm.
it's you know, the more value you can accumulate, in whatever form, if it's stuff, if it's cash, you know, that's
She
what
beats
people are
herself
going
to
for.
love.
That's why they call it liquid. Cash is just a.
Well, then if you just love cash, there you go.
I do love that. Grimerica.ca/support. Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, let's go back to so community. You get into controversial topics. You run the risk of losing some of your community. So what, in retrospect, would you recommend staying away from those controversial topics, or do you think it's worth taking the plunge and going through some of that stuff?
I guess it depends what you want.
I'm asking you.
For me, it doesn't matter because it's not about the money. It's just about the conversations.
Yeah.
About
But
what's
you do.
shown.
But you appreciate the community as well.
Yeah, I do. So if the community if you can't handle the conversations, then that's kind of a
Yeah.
it's a self-regulating community.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
The community needs to have a certain level of fucking acceptance and non-judgmentalness
Yeah.
and open-mindedness and a certain amount of tolerance. Not in the shitty fucking PC tolerance,
Right.
but actual tolerance.
Like
actual real tolerance of
Right.
other opinions that might be drastically different than yours.
Yeah. Ability to listen to those opinions without getting triggered.
Because if you can't, even if you agree with me on all of my personal politics, but you can't handle Russ's idea and it triggers you, and you got to call Russ a name,
Yeah.
then I don't want you in the community.
Right.
Got it. Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool.
And
That's good,
you
'cause
don't
people-
have to write that down. It just takes care of
It
itself.
happens. Yeah. It's
Yeah. So you hear that, folks? If you're gonna get mad at Russ, you're out.
That's right. Anyone who calls me names are assholes.
You know,
So
you gotta have that. I don't know. It's hard to lose that thing that you think you know stuff.
It is hard.
Yeah.
But you gotta get rid of that.
I go through phases of it. Like, there are certain times when I've been like, oh my God, I don't know anything. And then, because of that paradigm shift, it leads me down new channels of exploration
And then you like
study and
stuff
discover.
out.
I start figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, actually, bro, it's this way because I'm woke.
Yeah.
And like eventually, boom,
Yeah.
that gets destroyed.
Oh, wow. I was
Yeah.
actually asleep the whole time.
Yeah.
And after you do that a couple times, and then you kind of come to that thing that you don't know fuck all.
Right.
Mhm.
But I still think I think it's no matter what, I kind of think it's probably going to remain cyclical. Like it's just like anything, without practice, without the constant reminder.
You know what the biggest problem is? Politics. Is right now politics has become pop culture.
Yeah.
It's fucking seeping its way into everything.
Yeah, everything is
Every
getting
part of the
political.
culture
Yep.
has fucking absorbed politics.
I agree with that.
And that's the biggest problem in the community. That's the one thing that sometimes I worry that could fucking get the community to fucking fracture.
Yeah.
Is political fucking bullshit. And that's why it's hard for me sometimes to think it's not by design. Because how can we fracture the most intimate fucking relationships with fucking
divide and
politics?
conquer. I mean,
You're
it's-
dividing fucking marriages right now with politics in North America. You're dividing fucking businesses. You're dividing fucking our little communities. Our little close-knit online communities that seemed, like they were impermeable.
Yeah, they
to-
could weather the storm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
when it comes to election season, look the fuck out, because all the people who never gave a fuck about politics 10 years ago are all in.
Why are you dropping so many F-bombs?
Yeah,
man?
take it easy on the F-bombs.
I get passionate.
Yeah, we're just doing our Graham impersonation.
Yeah, the F-bombs, bro.
Yeah, take it easy on the F-bombs.
He gets pretty F-bombed.
He does. When he gets riled up, he
Oh,
starts
yeah.
dropping them, yeah.
No, but that's. I think you're right. So.
Probably not.
I agree. So we have a rule basically with our podcast. We try to stay out of politics as much as possible. That's not really why we started our podcast. Our podcast is about ancient mysteries. Now there is politics involved because, like you said, it's infecting everything. There's politics involved, especially when you start talking about more recent ancient mysteries. And like various movements and peoples can get political for some people because they start thinking about racial problems and stuff like that. But for the most part, we try to keep politics out of our podcast as much as possible because, I want people, because it does trigger people. If the politics I'm talking are on the wrong side, compared to some listener, they may stop listening, and I don't want that. I'm not here to polarize that, but I think that ancient mysteries, talking about pyramids, looking at what happened with human origins and even further back, just like Earth history, like geology, stuff Randall talks about, for the most part, people from both sides or all sides of the political spectrum can come and be interested in that. And I experienced that a lot when before the podcast, I was doing this online, and I noticed that there were a whole lot of people that did not have the same politics that I did, right? And so I just always was careful to keep my politics out of anything I was saying,
Having
because
to do with this other kind of stuff.
because I'm talking to them about this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and I don't care what side of the politics they're on. I want to talk to them about this kind of stuff, and I don't want to start up some animosity that will hinder that conversation from happening.
Mhm.
So that's kind of been our policy with the podcast the whole time, is we're here to talk about pyramids.
I disagreed at first. He just was like, look, we're just not going to do this. And I'm like, really? This politics was a major part of our ongoing discussions all the time.
Yeah,
So we were always talking about ancient civilizations and politics together.
yeah.
And so when I was thinking we were starting the podcast, I'm like, this is what we're going to do, right?
Oh, you guys would be so all right by now.
Oh my So
You probably have 1 billion listeners then.
but I think he was right because it's true
It's
that
divisive.
Yeah.
we don't want to alienate people because of this other stuff that's actually not important to the main.
But you see, it's weird because you wonder if that's a new problem then, because the age-old saying is you don't talk about politics,
Right, or religion.
Yeah, and it's we're that fucking fragile.
I know.
That we just can't talk about disagreements or we end up killing each other.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't this way, but I've seen it
Because you can't come to real solutions without having those conversations.
That's right.
I mean, that's the ultimate thing. And I don't think they want real solutions. That's why I've ultimately come to the decision that they're all a bunch of fascists, and it's all just the entertainment wing of the military-industrial complex. And that's all politics are, is to keep us fucking distracted while they do whatever they want. And the left and the right and the middle are all the same.
Right. It's in large part, it's all a big show. It's kabuki theater.
You look at it, we've been arguing about the same social bullshit for the last 60 years.
Yeah.
And how many leftists have been in the White House? But then they get in the White House and they don't do any of the social stuff they said they were going to do.
Yeah.
They just keep bombing places and maybe, throw some regulation in here and there, and then
and then the other side comes in and does the same stuff.
And it's just like, if you look at the overarching thing, it's a little bit like, so if you zoom in real close, it looks like it's going.
Yeah, it looks like a sine wave.
Out,
it's a straight
it's
line.
It's going up while it's doing that.
Yeah.
So, it's always just marching towards that global corporatism, I guess would be the new word for it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're spinning fascism into corporatism, so it doesn't seem like such a dirty word.
All right, Stash, pause it. Think about fishing a little bit.
Just didn't take long for me and your dad to start.
have some tea, and then come back.
Yeah, so right after I get done explaining to Darren that we don't do politics, he's like, well, politics, and you guys are all fucking wrong.
We're all fascists. We're fascists, though, too. I mean, we're part of it, I guess. It's our dollars they're doing it with.
Yeah.
But if you don't pay tax, then they throw you in jail. So it's like this weird conundrum.
Yeah, that is authoritarian in aspect right there.
Yeah, so it's an inescapable thing. And so the podcast being an entertainment show, it provides somewhat of an escape
from that.
Because you just can't escape it. So why should we?
That seems new though, right? I feel like 10 years ago you could escape it. Or was I just still plugged into the Matrix? I wonder, you look at the shows now.
I don't think you could escape it.
I can't even watch the movies and shit.
There are people that are right. I agree with that.
Was it like that 20 years ago and I just wasn't onto it? Like, it makes you want to watch some of those, like, what kind of movies were coming out when Bill Clinton was in office, or or leading up to 9/11, what was coming out?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's always been there, especially in the pop culture. Because pop culture people, that you can see it. They're always commenting on politics.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, but so we're trying to not do that, basically, because that's not what we're here for.
Just get away from the programming, man. That's what the TV's been just mind controlling us for so long.
Yeah.
I don't need my podcast to be mind controlling people into more of that.
Right.
Whether it's left or right or socialist or
you guys are definitely not a mind control podcast. Like, I've been listening for years, and there's no mind control happening.
If anything, it's a little culty.
Grimerica's great.
If anything, it's a little culty.
Yeah, culty.
Graham's the leader.
Yeah, I mean, for us, Kyle and I pay a lot of attention to politics, which actually helps us keep politics out of the discussions, because you got to know what to not talk about, And if we didn't pay attention, then a bunch of political stuff would probably slip into the conversation, because you just don't know that it's political, So, but I think that number one, it's great to get, we've been having these conversations about pyramids and ancient stuff for years, and it's great to get down here and just do that and just shut that whole world out of the conversation for a couple of hours, and to be able to focus on that is fantastic for me. I agree that it's not only is it an escape for the listeners, because they can go listen to something that has no politics in it. If Darren would stop talking about politics, this would happen. But that we can also do it.
Yeah.
But my politics are different, because I think it's us against the government.
I agree with that.
As opposed to
one
which side of the government against
right. Yeah.
My thing is that the government's probably doesn't have your best interest in her. But at the same time, I can get on board with, because I was a libertarian for a while.
Yeah.
But then I talked to my buddy Matheson, and he's like, yeah, but then you want Amazon running rimshot on this motherfucker? And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't.
You're afraid that tiny government would result in giant corporatism, basically.
Yeah. And then he's like, what you and then I can come along more to that, is what you need is a government that's an actual representation of the people,
which never happens.
It's supposed to be you, it's supposed to be us. So why are we scared of us? Because it's become this giant bureaucracy.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how you fix that, but
We don't know how to fix it.
We don't know how to fix it either. Yeah.
I don't want oil companies dumping oil into the rivers and shit either. You know, I don't.
Yeah.
I want there to be repercussions.
Well, it's like one of the examples we use is mud flaps. Like you want drivers to have mud flaps, so you got to have yours too. It doesn't help you at all for you to have mud flaps, but it helps you for everyone else to have mud flaps.
Yes, exactly.
So you're not getting rocks thrown at your windshield.
So mud flaps are a thing that has no personal benefit for you to own, but it has a great personal benefit for everyone else to have.
Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons why you need like rules.
A community that's
that's
gonna
going to
agree
say
on a
like
rule.
we're all going to get mud flaps. Even
Yeah,
though
just because people are so fallible. Like, you know, that's like kind of my argument that all the isms are fucked until we start making proper people again. And maybe we never made proper people, but I'd like to think that.
How do you make proper people?
Well, I think like how you raise
You
them.
don't know how to make proper people.
Don't
It's
tell
just
us.
how you raise them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like I don't think we raise our I don't think we're raising our kids or.
Well,
I
we're
don't
giving them
think
to
the-
the government to raise for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like
Jesus.
we've got this weird
We're
public
not supposed
school
to be doing
system.
this, guys.
I know. Yeah. Stop talking about politics.
So pyramids are hard.
So it doesn't work, right? Capitalism, socialism, communism, all of them end up fucked up because people are trying to get over on each other because there's this weird individualism that's built in
Yeah.
that isn't for the greater good. Like, you know, I don't know when that happened,
Yeah.
but I feel like it wasn't like that when we were building pyramids.
It's
that's
that's
hard
hard.
we
to
don't
say.
know.
Yeah, I think we don't know.
Do you
It's
think-
hard to say. I think that might be
We can
human
look
nature.
back. One thing we can say is we can look back throughout history.
You
we
think
can-
it was all taxes and the one Egyptian sitting in the back like, the motherfuckers wasted my tax money? Fucking
Why are we wasting money on pyramids when we got so much stuff we could solve in our community, guys? Yeah. I mean, it's the same
Because
argument.
it could be that you're just, you know, seeing grass greener on the other side.
Right.
And it's like, you know, they were all just, oh, let's build a pyramid.
Right. We don't
Maybe
have
it
enough
worked.
information to say that they didn't have the same problems back then as we do now. That's just hard to
Right.
tell.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it is, to me, it's an important thing to study human nature, to look at our ancient past and try to understand as much about it as we can, because I do think learning from ancient civilizations will help us in modern times.
Fuck
Yeah, you got to have a perspective.
Yeah.
You gotta love.
And if
be
it turns
loved.
out that human nature has been exactly the same all throughout our existence,
Yeah,
then that is a very valuable thing to learn.
it is.
Do you think
because it
human
will-
nature is nature?
I do, yeah.
You don't think
I'm
it's
one of those
human
people
nurture?
that's I'm one of those people that
Because
that-
baboons are fucked, so, you know, if you come from monkeys, it's not looking good.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Right
Well, like, have you ever seen, like, those baboons fucking fuck shit up, man? They go out and rip each other apart.
Yes,
You know, you're
yeah.
the wrong
They're
baboon in the
brutal.
wrong
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
But then if you're those other little monkeys that just, like, fucking, they seem pretty cool.
Yeah.
I forget what are they, the bonobos or whatever.
Yeah. So you're talking about like violent tendencies in various different types of.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
Because nature's a
Love versus
motherfucker.
violence, yeah.
So there's both arguments, right?
Yeah.
Nurture might not be able to overtake nature. Like I follow this one Twitter account, Nature is Scary. You know, I just watched a video last night. Unfortunately, I didn't mean to, but I just opened up the Twitter feed after I crawled into bed.
Yeah.
And I opened up and it's a mama stork just throwing one of her babies out of the nest.
Right. Yeah. Nature is. I mean, we have this joke that like in nature everything is eating everything else. All
Yeah,
the
so
time.
I think it's just data. My point is that when we study nature and when we study human nature, the point is don't be biased about the collection of that data. Just look at it for what it is, and that is going to help us understand how to deal with ourselves in this natural world. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just be kind to each other.
That's right. It's good.
Fuck
good.
yeah.
I have
Should we
to
listen
go.
to your voicemail now? Let's listen to your voicemail
Oh, okay.
before you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're going. What about the gun shooting?
We're going gun shooting.
As soon as you're
But
done?
my wife's leaving and she's leaving our boy here, so I've got to
Oh,
go
right.
grab him.
Right. Yeah.
Don't you
That's
have to
just a
do-
bonus episode. It's good.
Don't you have to go do the clickers?
Yeah, but not right this
Not
minute.
yet.
I don't know if I still remember the voicemail password.
Doxing your password.
Yeah, I know, right? Kyle, your message isn't on here.
You deleted my messages?
You deleted his message.
I did not delete your messages. Maybe the phone was broken for too long. How long ago did you leave them?
Right after you published the episode where you mentioned about ping pong.
Oh.
I was like,
Because the phone was never actually disconnected. Are we still playing ping pong?
Yeah, we can do it.
We're gonna try.
Yeah, we're
It's
gonna
pretty
try.
windy.
We got a busy schedule.
Yeah.
It says there's a voicemail.
There is. There should be two.
People are gonna be checking all the voices. Someone else deleted them because I doxed my password last time. No, none.
Oh well.
No voicemail. Sorry, Kyle.
Yeah.
Should we wrap this motherfucker
Yeah,
up?
we're gonna wrap it up. So, ladies and gentlemen, check out the Grimerica Podcast. What's the website? Tell everybody how they can find it.
Grimerica.ca. If you just type Grimerica into Google, that will be the first 10 pages.
Yeah. All right.
That's with a G-R-I.
You guys have 400 shows. You interview all kinds of people from all walks of life and ideas.
Now we do the conferences and everything.
That's right. Yeah. So let's talk about that because I wanted to mention that one of the things you started to do was this contact at the cabin stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you guys were going with that, and then you decided to really go all out on one with Randall.
Yeah.
And we signed up for that and made it a total success.
That's right. You know, in retrospect, if you guys wouldn't have been there, there was a real chance it could have fallen apart. You know, like the way everything turned out in the end.
We all worked. We came together.
It was pretty precarious.
Yeah,
you know, it was, for reasons we won't get into here. There was a house of cards.
It was.
And it managed to all, we managed to pull it off. I mean, we were all trying to run this conference. None of us have actually met each other.
Yeah.
We're doing it in a fucking state that's, 1,000 miles away from
everybody.
And we managed to pull it off.
Yeah.
So that makes things like the Scablands seem a lot more achievable where I've been there a couple of times.
Yep.
Would this be your first time there?
Yeah. But I'm not worried because you guys have been there, and Brad and Randall, of course, have been there many times. Yeah. And that's his place.
Yeah.
He knows the Scablands.
You got to get comfy there because we're going to be going there for the next decade probably. Once or twice a year.
I am all in. So,
and
that's what's great about it is you guys started this, and Kyle and I have been one of the long-term goals we have for this podcast is we call it straight to pyramids. We want to go out into the field and see these places we're talking about. So going to Pagosa and actually going to see those ancient ruins.
Yeah.
We were like, dude, this is it. And then you guys were like, hey, stay the entire week. Help us do all the stuff, and we're like, we're all in, and it turned out so well that we're like, okay, let's keep doing these, and now it's like a joint effort, and so we're setting up we're going in April with Matheson, which is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, sold the fuck out.
Yeah, sold out.
I kept opening up as much space as I could.
I know.
Now I've got new concerns that there's too many of us.
Oh yeah, well it'll be fine.
Because there's going to be 60 of us now descending on those parks.
Well it'll be fine.
Oh, it'll be a blast.
Yeah.
It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it'll be like herding snakes. Grimerica snakes.
Grimerica snakes. And then we left, so I've stopped announcing the September 21st one.
Yeah.
We're calling that sold out so the Cosmography audience can catch up. Because I think we're down to 4 spots or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we'll be ready to start. That's part of the reason I'm down here.
Yep.
Is so that later tonight we can get down and start cracking the books on 2021 and 2022 and what
that's
all that's
right.
gonna
We're going to have a team meeting on future events.
So they're not stopping anytime soon.
Nope.
But they sell out fast. So
they do. We were really surprised because the Scabland trips, because of the nature of the way we're setting it up and what Randall wants to do, it was a little more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But it was gone. It's just gone. So it's it gives you hope. And of course, we know this model works because you have people like David Hatcher Childress, Brian Forrester that do this. They take people on these tours and people pay $4,000, $6,000, $8,000 to go around the world for a week or two, where the tour people set up everything. So once you pay your money and you get there, everything's handled.
Yeah.
So we know that people will do this. It was just, can we do it and have people come? And it seems to be working.
So far, so good.
Contact
at thecabin.com.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. All right, Kyle, we're closing it out.
We're out of here.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Outro music. SnakeBros.support.
That's right. Join the pyramid scheme. Help us go straight to pyramids. Check out the website, brothersoftheserpent.com. You guys know all this stuff. Thank you so much.
Turn the pyramid outside and make a rocket ship. Oh, we got a bunch of comments here.
Yeah, I saw people commenting. We couldn't partake.
All right, guys. Cool.
All right, chat. I don't know how to shut this thing off. No.
We did it. We did it.
Graham
Graham's lost. $5 earned. It goes into the pool.
And we're back. It is not the end of the show. The old outro bumper music is now put into normal rotation since I hardly ever use it for the end of the show.
Very sad.
Yeah, so we got another hour to go. What's very sad? That we're back on?
My favorite end of the show song is
I'll still use it from time to time, but it's not getting enough rotation these days.
That's right, right. It needs to be put in the regular bumper music because it doesn't. But I'm telling you, people are going to have a Pavlovian reaction, like, "Oh my God, it's the end of the show after the first segment."
So yeah, that was a great time we had with Darren. That was Saturday, and it is now Monday. So we wanted to get that little podcast in before he was only here for one full day.
Yeah, that's right.
So
you can let your kids back in the room, folks. Much fewer swear words now, and less politics and swear words now that Darren is gone.
That's right.
I mean, I tried to kind of explain a little bit of that stuff to him beforehand, and he gets in here and just drops the F-bomb multiple times, won't get off the politics, I mean, I probably shouldn't have said anything, and then we could have talked about pyramids instead. But he was like, "Oh, you don't want to talk about that stuff? All right, fuck you." And he just
We love him.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
We had a great time.
Yeah,
so.
that was fantastic.
And we'll be seeing him pretty soon.
That's right.
When we go to Utah.
The Matheson event, supposedly it's almost about 60 people at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be epic.
Yeah. And we are joined by the one and only Watcher from deep beneath his space station in secret outer space. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Much better now that I'm reattached to the world.
Yeah.
So.
You had equipment malfunctions and destructions.
Yeah. Somebody drilled a hole in your capsule. And...
No, I lost my space phone. History Shift was pointing out that I tend to go through a lot of them. I told him to invent one made out of Pyrex and titanium, and I'll be good.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, oh yeah, the Watcher has joined the Discord too. So if you want to see his ramblings in the Discord, and you can read everything, read everything that he says with the imaginary, like he's coming out of a tin can voice.
On the Facebook group, they actually said from inside my bag of chips. Actually,
right? Yeah, from inside the bag of chips, out of the can of Pringles, whatever you want.
Yeah. So we rearranged the show because we had Darren on, and we went ahead and did the intro with him, but we only got in an hour that day. We had a lot of things on the agenda.
Right.
So now we're starting the beginning of the show.
That's right. This is the beginning.
And we'll end halfway through.
That's right. So you've already heard the end of the show.
That's right. You can end your workout now.
Classic.
And I have real quick, I have a little clinic here for myself.
Yep.
For the Patreon supporters. Well, I don't have the Patreon list, but I have our Pyramid Scheme supporters, since I'm the one who monitors the PayPal, and I've been doing a terrible job of it ever since it began. So I realized I need to keep track of this, and I guess I'm going to look at possibly doing a spreadsheet, right?
Yeah,
maybe
I think that's the best way to do it.
That's probably the best way to do it. And I've got a program on the computer here, so I can every week get in here and look at the PayPal before the show and add
add stuff in there. But I wanted to go through the list of names of our supporters, the supporters of the pyramid scheme. If I missed you in the past and didn't mention you, I apologize about that. We've been getting some really large donations from multiple people, and we are very, very grateful. And I realize like I've even missed some of those, and I'm getting to some of them late, so I'll try to get better at that. And just wanted to thank all of you. So I'm just going to read the list from the beginning to now on the pyramid scheme. We would like to thank Todd, Patrick, Brenner, Martin, Paul, Jeffrey, Brandon Ricks, Grimerica, Matthew, Hablack, Kinward, Brandon, James, Green Knight, and the Snake Parents. Boxes, buttons, beads, and more. Tommy, the Propinator, Sean, Snake Sister Demian, Robert, Sab, Brooks, Matthew, Levi, Sewell, Ann, Snake Force Commander Frank, Cortez Studio, Brian, Travis, and Simon.
Yeah.
All contributors to the Snake Bros Pyramid Scheme. We thank you very much. And I want to do special thanks to these individuals who have done one-time donations of $50 or more. Jeffrey at $50. The Snake Parents, $72. Tommy, $200. Snake Sister Demian, $100. Sab, $50.24. Ann, $200. Snake Force Commander Frank, $100. Cortez Studio, $100. So thank you all so much. Many of these multiple times.
That's right.
I mean, they're one-time donations, so they're not on a monthly recurrence, but multiple times we've gotten these numbers, and very much appreciated. So we're gonna like we did the Snake Force Commander thing that was on Patreon.
Right. Yeah.
Because like when we were making the tiers, we went through and named all the different tier rates, and then we like got up to like $43.20.
Yeah, and we're like, no one's gonna ever do this.
Exactly. We're like, well, we'll make them commander of the Snake Force.
Yeah.
So that's why Frank became Snake Force Commander Frank.
Yeah.
But he has also done one-time donations multiple times. So, you know, and then these other $200 donations. I mean, we were like, man, they're Snake Force commanders too.
Right.
So we're
going to come up with a different system.
Yeah.
And we'll work it out, and we'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
We got some ideas, and it should be cool. But basically, I think what it comes down to is we haven't been paying enough attention to this because, I don't know, it's like we never expected this to happen, I guess. So it's like the numbers start coming in and the donations the donation amounts start going up, and we just don't have a habit of checking the PayPal. I do get notifications every once in a while from Patreon, but then we started seeing the Patreon will dump money into PayPal every month, and we started seeing those numbers go up, and I'm like, wait a minute, you know, this is a lot more than I was expecting, and then the same thing was happening with the PayPal, and so we're just like, okay, we sat down today and we're looking at all of them, and we realized that we aren't doing you guys justice. Like, you have been really like stepping up and donating to the show, and we're looking at the amount in our PayPal account, and we're like, wow, we're building a pyramid here.
Yes.
So we want to say thank you so much to you guys. We're going to come up with a better system to where you get more props. You get mentioned on the show more often, and we just want to come up with better ways to thank you guys. We're still kind of against, right? We're kind of against like exclusive content because this is a discussion, and it's hard to keep the discussion. Like, it's hard to remember
who do we say all this stuff to?
Who do we say this stuff to?
Yeah, I don't want to do that, but there are ways. Like, I mean, even the simple shout out,
right,
you know, is cool. We want to do that.
Yeah. And we want to give you guys ranks. You know, like the Commander Frank thing is the Snake Force Commander is something. We'll work on it so that there will be a ranking system, and it'll be fun. You know, and hilarious, just like the rest of the show. So
yeah. So thanks to all of you.
Yeah,
so
Kyle's
much.
Kyle like was going through it today, and he's like, I need to get a notebook and start writing this stuff down because holy crap, bro, people have been really stepping up. So, so yeah.
Yeah, and some of these people, like,
that haven't done a one-time donation of $50 or more, but they're donating $7 a month, and they've been doing it for years.
Right. Yeah.
So
it won't be, maybe that the ranking system won't be based on, one times or whatever, but it'll be based on how much you have donated in total. And that's why we're going to need to set up a spreadsheet and keep track. So
yeah,
we'll work on it. We're learning this stuff as we go. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And then again, I mean, value for value system. I mean, there's so much of you out there that are doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
Obviously, Brandon Ricks, History Shift, Jeff.
Yeah. And Jeff is the freaking librarian.
Yeah, the librarian. That's right.
God, like his library is amazing. The Library of the Serpent is fantastic, and he's always working on the Discord, and History Shift is freaking making all the videos, and we've got people who are donating in different ways, and we just need to keep track of it. So,
and the Facebook group.
Jordan manages the Facebook group.
So yeah, just warm and fuzzies.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. We gonna do Space Weather News?
Yeah, buddy.
All right, let's do Space Weather News from spaceweather.com. Sunset planets. When the sun goes down tonight, step outside and look southwest. The crescent moon is passing Venus in the constellation of Aquarius. A telescope trained on Venus will reveal Neptune, only 1/4 of a degree away from it. Neptune is relatively dim, but its azure disk distinguishes it from nearby stars. That's pretty cool. So the moon will be passing Venus, which is right next to Neptune. That's some crazy crap going to go down tonight, people. Also, let's see. We got another one. Starlink satellites. This is interesting. SpaceX had an idea. Surround the Earth with 42,000 satellites and provide broadband internet to every corner of the globe. The project is called Starlink, and it could destroy the night sky. Destroy it! Destroy the night sky! Starlink satellites are quite bright. En masse, they have the potential to seriously interfere with research-grade astrophotography. Ulrich C. Beinert was flying an airplane over the Canada-USA border on January 20th, and he got an eye full of it. At the moment, only 180 Starlink satellites orbit the Earth, yet they are frequently sighted. Now imagine 42,000. Astronomers could have trouble photographing anything without a Starlink satellite passing through the field of view. Starlink launches will intensify in 2020 with 1,000 more satellites expected by the end of the year. For the most recent launch on January 6, SpaceX applied an experimental coating to one of the satellites to dim the brightness. However, preliminary observations by some observers suggest the coating makes little difference. Keep trying, SpaceX. So I think that's good. Like at the end there, they're like, all right, SpaceX has acknowledged this issue. SpaceX doesn't want to, if you got a company associated with space, you don't want to suddenly have every astronomer on the planet, like, no, like against SpaceX.
Yeah.
So SpaceX is like, all right, sorry, they're a little bright. We'll spray paint them and maybe they'll be dimmer.
That's cool.
Yeah. So good end to the article there. It started out as a little like, destroy the night sky. A little bit, a little doom porny there. Okay. Current conditions, solar wind speed 323.1 kilometers per second. Density is only 2.9 protons per cubic centimeter. And there is a new sunspot, sorry.
Yeah.
2757. It is actually from the old solar cycle 24.
Huh.
It has the old
magnetic field polarity.
Yeah. All right. That's it for Space Weather News.
Cool.
That's what I got.
Phys.org. New research provides evidence of strong early magnetic field around the Earth. Deep within Earth, swirling liquid iron generates our planet's protective magnetic field. This magnetic field is invisible. Really? Huh.
What? Magnetic fields are invisible?
Exactly.
Are you serious?
But it is vital for life on Earth's surface. It shields the planet from harmful solar wind and cosmic rays from the sun. Cosmic rays from the sun. I didn't really think. Given the importance of the magnetic field, scientists have been trying to figure out how the field has changed throughout Earth's history. That knowledge can provide clues to understanding the future evolution of Earth, as well as the evolution of other planets in the solar system.
New research from the University of Rochester provides evidence that the magnetic field that first formed around Earth was even stronger than scientists previously believed. The research published in the journal PNAS will help scientists draw conclusions about the sustainability of Earth's magnetic shield and whether or not there are other planets in the solar system with the conditions necessary to harbor life. Earth's magnetic field today. Today's magnetic shield is generated in Earth's outer core. The intense heat in Earth's dense inner core causes the outer core, composed of liquid iron, to swirl and churn, generating electric currents and driving a phenomenon called the geodynamo, which powers Earth's magnetic field. The currents in the liquid outer core are strongly affected by the heat that flows out of the solid inner core. Because of the location and extreme temperatures of materials in the core, scientists aren't able to directly measure the magnetic field. Fortunately, minerals that rise to Earth's surface contain tiny magnetic particles that lock in the direction and intensify the intensity of the magnetic field at the time the minerals cool from their molten state. Using new paleomagnetic electron microscope geochemical and paleointensity data, the researchers dated and analyzed zircon crystals, the oldest known terrestrial materials collected from sites in Australia. The zircons, which are about 0.2 of a millimeter, contain even smaller magnetic particles that lock in the magnetization of the Earth at the time of the zircons were formed.
Why is all the oldest Earth stuff in Australia?
Meanwhile, in Australia,
Yeah.
Earth's oldest particles. A previous research by Tarduno found that Earth's magnetic field is at least 4.2 billion years old and has existed for nearly as long as the planet.
Holy crap.
It's going to collapse! Earth's inner core, on the other hand, is a relatively recent addition. It formed only about 565 million years ago.
Yeah, like just freaking yesterday.
Yeah, according to the research published by Tarduno and his colleagues earlier this year. While the researchers initially believed Earth's early magnetic field had a weak intensity, the new zircon data suggests a stronger field. But because the inner core had not yet formed, the strong field that originally developed 4 billion years ago must have been powered by a different mechanism. We think that mechanism is chemical precipitation of magnesium oxide within Earth, Tarduno says. The magnesium oxide was likely dissolved by extreme heat related to the giant impact that formed Earth's moon. As the inside of Earth cooled, just stacks of assumptions. As the inside of Earth cooled, magnesium oxide could precipitate out, driving convection and the geodynamo. The researchers believe inner Earth eventually exhausted the magnesium oxide source to the point that the magnetic field almost completely collapsed 565 million years ago. But the formation of the inner core provided a new source to power the geodynamo and the planetary magnetic shield Earth has today. This early magnetic field was extremely important because it shielded the atmosphere and water removal from the early Earth when solar winds were most intense, Tarduno says. The mechanism of the field generation is almost certainly important for other bodies like other planets and exoplanets. A leading theory, for instance, is that Mars, like Earth, had a magnetic field early on in its history. However, on Mars, the field collapsed, and unlike Earth, Mars did not generate a new one. Once Mars lost its magnetic shielding, it then lost its water. But we still don't know why the magnetic shielding collapsed. Early magnetic shielding is really important, but we're also interested in the sustainability of a magnetic field. This study gives us more data in trying to figure out the set of processes that maintain the magnetic shield on Earth, Tarduno said.
So the Watcher, I think he meant is it the solid core that formed, the inner core that formed later? Because the liquid core is what makes the magnetic field, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, yes, it's the churning and stuff of the liquid core.
The outer liquid core.
Right. Okay, let's see. The intense heat in Earth's dense inner core causes the outer core, composed of liquid iron, to swirl and churn, generating electric currents and driving a phenomenon called the geodynamo. The currents in the liquid outer core are strongly affected.
It said something about the inner core forming later.
Yes.
like 500 million years ago or something, when it collapsed, and then the core split in two basically, and you had an inner and an outer core.
Yeah.
What it was saying.
Let's see. Dang it.
It's all right.
Ask me questions about this. I don't know. I wasn't even paying attention. I was just reading it as fast as I could.
But yeah, I heard something about that, about how one of the cores formed later after there was a collapse or something like that. And
yeah, so it says the Earth's inner core is a relatively recent addition.
Yeah.
It formed about 565 million years ago.
Yeah. So it was all liquid before then, because the inner core is supposedly solid, whereas the outer core is supposedly liquid.
I think well, maybe.
So something happened 500 million years ago, and the very center of the planet somehow crystallized and separated the core, which was previously all liquid, into two parts: a solid one and a liquid one.
Yeah, so they're
how do they know that?
Magnesium oxide. Okay, so they're saying the magnesium oxide was likely dissolved by extreme heat related to the giant impact that formed Earth's moon.
Oh.
So that event was the regime in which had the original inner core, and eventually it ran out of the magnesium oxide and shut down, and then restarted with a new mechanism 565 million years ago.
Wow.
I think is what they're saying.
Very interesting.
The researchers believe the inner Earth eventually exhausted the magnesium oxide source to the point that the magnetic field almost completely collapsed 565 million years ago, but the formation of the inner core provided a new source to power the geodynamo and the planetary magnetic shield Earth has today.
Yeah. Wow.
So, but I mean, that's, yeah. So it's based on the assumption that the moon is not a spaceship.
Crazy assumption.
I know. These kooks. Don't they know?
Who built the moon?
But yeah, so they're looking at these zircon crystals, and
yeah, and I've got to say that just sounds like a Star Trek alien to me. The frickin' zircons down in Australia.
Yeah, I know. They got a picture of a zircon crystal inside the O of God. In the "In God We Trust" on a dime, just to give you
okay,
an idea of the size.
Oh, okay, all right. It's in the O of God.
Yeah. Let's see. The zircons are about 0.2 of a millimeter and contain even smaller magnetic particles that lock in the magnetization of the Earth. Yeah, so it doesn't really give you much. It's not giving much data on how much stronger the magnetic field was.
Huh.
But it was stronger than they thought.
Yeah.
Not a surprise. But that's interesting about the crystals that they're finding in Australia.
Yeah, it is. All right, we got some reviews here. New reviews. Yeah, new reviews. So did I read this one? Archaeology isn't a real science. Did I read that one on the show? I think I read
don't know.
part of, okay. Archaeology isn't a real science, 5 stars. Bros. Love the show. I have currently listened up to episode 125. I plan on going back through them and leaving more comments. I love the discussion on how archaeology isn't a real science. In my opinion, they are just pack rats with a ridiculous cataloging system. Haha. With that being said, I have spent a little time with my sister, who is an ASU grad in anthropology and art history, at a dig site located outside of Silver City, New Mexico, and my best friend growing up is working on his doctorate in archaeology, so I do have respect for the study. Keep up the great work. I look forward to your future content. Shannon. I think I did read that one.
Nah, I don't remember.
Matter. Okay, well, if you don't remember, then it didn't happen.
Whoops.
Okay. What do we got here? Lovely show, 5 stars. Love the brothers. Love their cheerfulness and true enthusiasm in tackling controversial subjects with humbleness and will to understand. Thanks, guys, for providing good content and lots of laughter, which seems to be a rare thing nowadays. That's from Kaliek Alex. Yeah.
Warm and fuzzies.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this one, 108 hails to the Snake Bros. It says, love the show. Snack, 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 snark, 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 snack, 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 snacks, and it goes on and on with snakes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's a great review.
Yeah, it's a great review from J. Coons 108. There you go.
Did he put 108
I think it's
snakes?
108 snakes.
I bet there is. So it's 3 times something really large.
Yeah, there's 108 snakes is what that is. 108 hails to the Snake Bros. So thanks for that, guys. You can go to iTunes and give us reviews on there. It always helps to spread the shows around. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Okay, what else do I got? I got a bunch of emails. Let me pull this up. All right, so Johnny from the Fringe Radio Network, which we are broadcast on, he says, Snake Bros' favorite show, hey, and then he sends a picture. He says that they got this picture. It was posted from a Christmas message from the video of Her Royal Majesty Queen Elizabeth. He says, I could not help but notice these ornate ceiling knobs, and they don't know what they are. And he was like, oh, I'll ask the Snake Force. They'll figure it out. And I did ask the Snake Force, and I got a couple of things, but the consensus in the Snake Force is that they're capitals. They just don't have columns. But I think the architectural name may be capital because that's the thing on top of the column. And these are basically, it's a place where there could be a column. There's no column there, but the capital is there. Mm-hmm. But there may be some other obscure architectural name for them. I'll ask Randall later. He might know. But I also got a translation of the Latin in that, Johnny, from Brandon from History Shift. He says that it roughly says something like, pray to God on the mountain. It looks to him like. So interesting stuff there. And there's lots of symbolism in all the other stuff. There's weird little cherubims and angels and stars and shit. So, cool stuff. Let's see. All right, so here's a long one from David.
I hope the watcher says he hopes that Randall says it's called a ceiling knob.
It's called a ceiling knob. It's called a ceiling knob. Okay, so David says, regarding episode number 130, wavelength of the Grand Gallery, levitation, frogs, and cancer cures? Question mark? Hello, Snake Brothers. As this video indicates, balcony conditions for drilling suddenly became suboptimal. Okay, so for working on the jet drill, I think, because all the weather came through.
Yeah, it must be.
As soon as I can get a solid day with some good daylight, or failing that, get around to buying a shovel, I'll enjoy running the first jet test. In the meantime, some info that may interest you is attached in the notes I scribbled while listening to your episode 130. At about 1 hour and 10 minutes in, conversing with Christopher Dunn and others, he says, while the Grand Gallery can and should be measured with a slow sine wave sweep to determine the space's natural frequency, all the work they put into calculating it yielded a projected answer of, quote, about 5.4 hertz, unquote. My first thought was, if acoustic levitation for pyramid blocks is speculated, what is the wavelength of the Grand Gallery's subsonic frequency? He says, I can never do such math in my head without geometrically spatializing it. I will post this image to your Twitter as well, so attached is my analysis. The 5.4 hertz resonance has a relatively large wavelength, which is 63.0219 meters. That is pretty long.
Yeah.
63 meters long. The brilliant thing, though, is that just a tiny tuning change in the tonic pitch would greatly change and focus the size of the higher order harmonic wavelengths. The pyramid blocks generally fit into 1/5 of the calculated tonic frequency of the Grand Gallery, if that makes any difference. Acoustic levitation is real and extremely possible, but you probably need very loud amplitude to get it going and extreme precision of pitch. Precisely carved resonant diorite or schist bowls might do the trick. I trust you have seen videos of flying frogs. Years back, infrasound was used in labs to levitate our little green friends. Tangentially off topic yet again, but also important, some random odd people have claimed to find ways to use sonic sterilization resonance, using the 11th interval, I think, to disintegrate cancer tumors. If this is for real, not only is it amazing, but it shows us how much we have to learn from those so-called primitive times, where we are told by Schwaller and others that Egyptians used resonance to heal and also to make moving blocks around easier. Thanks again for the episode. Interesting things keep happening. All the best, David. And then he gives us a bunch of links to sonic sterilizations of cancer, acoustic levitation of a tiny sphere. And then he says, Japanese have been able to precision levitate tiny salt particles. I think the real scientific boon here is we get to see Chladni figures in 3D. I'm convinced these shapes are shadows of 4D and 5D objects that are amazingly complex geometrically, but incredibly simple acoustically. This is a truly fertile frontier of physics and metaphysics.
That's what I want to see too, is cymatics patterns in 3D. What do they look like?
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
I have a sneaking suspicion that they look like planets orbiting stars.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Also, David, are you the architecture podcast? Is that correct me if I'm wrong on that? But like based on what you said in this email that you were going to send to us on Twitter, and me remembering when I got on Twitter, I'm like, that was an account on there called the Architecture Podcast or something like that. So if you're doing a podcast about architecture, let me know, and I will because I'll listen to it and we'll talk about it on the show. Because if that's you, just say something, because I didn't connect those. I was like, who is this? What is this Architecture Podcast stuff? So yeah, if that's you, let us know. And yes, I agree with the 3D cymatics. Kyle, I stood around and watched. Kyle has tried to do that many times, and so far, it's interesting, but it hasn't completely worked yet to where we totally trust it. A watcher says he saw one of those experiments and it was so paradigm shifting that the room later burst into flames. Yes. In a completely unrelated incident, we did almost burn the cube down after that. All right, this is from Kyle, called Giza Power Plant. He says, Snake Bros, so I just finished up the Christopher Dunn episode, and what I am left thinking is, please, for the love of God, someone build a scale model of the Great Pyramid and prove this. And that was all in caps, so he's real serious about that. The whole Giza Power Plant series of episodes were fantastic, and finishing up with Chris, Robert, and Eric was amazing. I think we can officially say that all three of those guys are Snake Bros. However, I don't believe there is a single certificate of ignorance between them. Keep up the great work, fellas. Snakes! P.S. Please tell Kyle that since we last communicated on episode 100, none of the music has sucked. Your Ohio Snake Bro.
Aha.
And his name is also Kyle. So you guys should
All right.
hang out.
Then I must have guessed correctly, because there's one bumper song that I stopped playing.
He stopped playing after that. And
I was like, he's talking about this one. I know he is, because it does.
That's great. All right, short one from Eric. He says, do you have a list of the books you read from the podcast? Thanks, Eric. Eric, get on the Discord. Or go to the website and get the link to the Library of the Serpent, because he has a list of more than just what we talk about on the podcast, but all kinds of related stuff as well. Lots of books that are in the public domain that you can get access to through the PDF or whatever. And then a list of books that aren't in the public domain, links where you can go buy them and stuff. So yes, there is a Library of the Serpent run by Jeff. There's a link to it on the website brothersoftheserpent.com, or you can just go to libraryoftheserpent at gmail or blogspot.com, something like that. But there's a link on the website. So, let's see. Comment. This is a comment on the glossary page of the website.
Oh, okay.
It says, love your podcast, guys. Funny and head-hurtingly informative regarding butt flaps. I am currently watching the most butt flappiest film ever. Creatures the World Forgot, which is a 1970 Hammer film. Brilliant script, unconvincing Pleistocene bear, prehistoric blonde, coiffed hair in Africa. Nothing really happens. No pyramids either. But I love your enthusiasm. Nothing like your podcast here in the UK. All the best. Pete. I don't know if I said that right. Is that how you say that word? Is that coiffed or coiffed? I don't know how to say it.
Coiffed, I guess.
Coiffed. It looks like coiffed.
Yeah.
Coiffed hair? Blonde coiffed hair? I don't know. Stop sending us that UK slang. I don't know what it means. I know it's not slang, but yeah. Okay, so he's saying it's called Creatures the World Forgot. The most butt flappiest film ever. Let's see. Joanne says, Dear Snake Bros, call me Joanne. That's fine, but I don't care if you say my full name on air. Australia is full of people with my name. All right, so I can't dox you even by accident.
Sorry, I missed that.
It's Joanne. She says, Dear Snake Bros, call me Joanne. That's fine, but I don't care if you actually say my full name on air because Australia is full of people with my full name.
Okay, cool.
But I'm still not going to do it. So I accidentally sent that last email before I had finished it, probably why it sounded confusing. Okay, so Joanne is the one from the last show where I said that she's sent us an email titled Comfort in a Time of Crisis.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, because all the fires and everything, and she was saying, and it was, I was reading through it, and I was like, okay, there's a lot of personal stuff in here that I don't want to say on the show. I wasn't totally confused by it, Joanne. It did seem to end abruptly. But that's what she said. She said, I hit the wrong button, and off that email went. Shit!
I hate it when that happens.
Could happen again, just saying. And she says, just finishing up on that email, I learned a lot going through the fires on New Year's Eve, Tuesday here. I will send a separate email for that as it is too long to add here, but I will say this. Time itself was confusing. 3 days meshed into one fuzzy memory for everyone. Everyone I spoke to said the same thing. Also, listening to Randall's lectures repeatedly before the fire happened and a bit of common sense prepared me for the aftermath.
Oh, man.
Therefore, allowing me to deal with the aftermath a lot better than others. My husband felt the same. We are not quote-unquote normal thinkers. We are, happily, more like you guys. That's really cool. Wow. She says, also, number one, Russ, I too cried with overwhelming emotion when I was listening to Randall describe the Younger Dryas impact I knew about, but for some reason, it just hit me that day. I just sat and cried uncontrollably for 15 minutes. I felt a physical connection. So she's talking about, you know, she felt a connection to that. Like, suddenly you see, like, this is what it's like when the whole world's on fire.
Yeah.
And you suddenly connect to these ancient people, and you're like, oh my God, this would have been, you know, so that's real serious. She says, number two, Sam Squanches are just gorillas dressed in Sam Squanch suits. Problem solved. Next. 3, the book is open. I was listening to one of Randall's lectures again in the great work section on his YouTube channel about the book being closed. Then I remembered listening to one of your podcasts, and one of you said that Randall was always vague about this issue. Doesn't really say much about it. Then it occurred to me, maybe it is him, Randall, is opening the book. Think about it. He knows the language of the birds, geometry. He's a freaking Freemason. He's a geological expert, and he never gives you the answer. He gives you all the pieces to the puzzle, and you have to put it together. It's not meant for everyone. Clearly just a thought, but you have to admit it kind of fits.
It really does.
That's pretty
I love
cool.
that.
Yeah. But also in reference to the book is open, he's also pointing out symbology or carvings where the book is actually open. So it isn't just random.
But maybe those things are actually speaking to people like Randall,
saying you
like,
can say this. Yeah.
This is how you open the book, or open the book in this way.
Yeah. Yeah. The Watcher says that, wait a minute, we were never at Atlantis, bro. Come on. Arklantis. He asked him at Arklantis if this means the book is open, and he says that Randall responded by saying more now than ever before. Yeah. Cool. Clearly, I guess the Watcher's been to Atlantis? I don't know.
Yeah.
4, pyramids. This is Joanne again. She says, I was 7 years old at school when I had the chance to open an encyclopedia and look at whatever I wanted. I went straight to pyramids and saw a picture of the Great Pyramid, and I was hooked from there. Even if you don't, she says, if you don't talk pyramids, I just can't even. Which is a fantastic reference to one of our older shows. Obviously Joanne reads the show descriptions, which is like very few people. But we did one we're in the show description was like, if we don't even talk to people who don't talk about pyramids. If you don't talk pyramids, we just can't even. Right? That's great. She says, 5, the Epic of Gilgamesh episode was effing awesome.
Wow.
6, email getting too long, we'll end it here. And then she has like 4 more paragraphs. Love the latest episodes on Chris Dunn. Didn't know the man was so bloody funny. Keep up the great work. Laugh as hard and as often as you fucking want. And I'm putting a motion forward for 7 podcasts a week. I don't think that's too much to ask. I love you guys. Warm and fuzzies from a snake sis in Oz. Snakes!
Yes.
108 font snakes at the end of that one.
Wow. Yes, warm and fuzzies.
Man,
thank you
Joanne,
so much.
thank you so much. And I'm glad you guys got through the fire. And that's really interesting that listening to Randall and thinking about cataclysms helped you deal with the aftermath of that situation. I can completely see that. I can totally see that. It gives you perspective, right?
Fascinating. Great stuff.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So, what is this one about? Angie says, this episode came right on time, as I am about to head to the South Carolina coast to await the arrival of the newest Adamu grandson in my family. Listening to the Snake Bros and the Cosmic Tusk will lessen the stress of the long drive, as I am anticipating a high dose of humor added to the intelligent conversation. Hopefully my brain expansion will not exceed the limits of my vehicle. Also, last week's episode with Chris Dunn and his colleagues was a delightful surprise. Great work. Snakes! Thank you, Angie. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
So yeah, we have the rule, the rule of the show. It's like there's only one rule, and that is, well, what we say. There's only one rule about guests, and that's
the first rule of podcasting.
I cannot get this right.
Yeah, the first rule of podcasting is you don't talk about upcoming guests on the podcast. The second rule of podcasting is you don't talk about upcoming guests on the podcast. That's how it goes. It's the Fight Club thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to follow that rule because it doesn't always work out. You're like, okay, we got this guy scheduled, and then you start telling people, and then they don't, and it doesn't work out.
For one reason or another, we have to reschedule.
Right.
And so we keep it to ourselves. But it was in the works.
It was in the works for a while. Yeah. Yeah.
And then so we were really excited. It was, just fantastic.
And we couldn't say anything. and then he wants to add 2 more people. He wanted to get Robert and Eric on, so we kept rescheduling until that all worked out. And
it was fantastic.
We had to keep not talking about it, and it was amazing when it finally happened.
Yeah.
All right. From the Grand Watcher. He says, I don't know where this came from, but as I was listening to you read Christopher Dunn, I suddenly thought, why do we assume that because the pyramids are there, that means their builders were located there too? After all, an advanced civilization could have placed them there because of their electrical relationship to the planet. There are pyramids all over the planet. Whistleblowers have reported that the underground one in Alaska produces enough energy to power all of Canada. We simply associate pyramids with Egypt because originally it was believed that the current society of Egypt are the ones who built them.
Totally agree.
Yeah. An advanced civilization doesn't have to be located around their big engineering works.
Do we all live at the Hoover Dam? No.
Yeah. Yeah, but a lot of us live around the Empire State Building. You got to admit that. A lot of people live around that thing.
That's true.
But no, they don't live around the Hoover Dam. Okay. Oh, this is really cool. This is titled, this is from Justin. It says, February 22nd is my birthday. Does this mean I'm in? And then he gives this, it's the astrology thing of the snake. So here, I'll read it. This is the Celtic zodiac signs. The snake. February 18th through March 17th. Positive traits. Communicative. Wise. Passionate. Negative traits. Unpredictable. Very practical. How is very practical a negative trait? Anyway, that is the snake, the Celtic astrology. So, yeah, you're in, bro. I didn't even know that. That's really cool. He says, Aloha, snakes. They call me Boom Boom for the wholesome way I slap that bass.
Sup, Boom Boom?
You guys are like the most inquisitive laymen in the sense that you aren't scientists but have a deep admiration for science that I have stumbled onto. Very many good words I can say about both your show and your music, and that I shall allude to in your comment section, but for now I come with questions. My first direct question is, after reading both of Chris Dunn's books, what do you guys think the purpose of the boxes in the Serapeum was? And subsequently, moving forward from the position of the Giza power plant, how many other stone enigmas are there in Egypt that we can begin to infer were parts of this functional facility?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to the Serapeum boxes, I guess really in general, just so much of the precision work that, Dunn has basically measured and uncovered there
it seems like this was easy for them,
Right.
In the sense that they had, like he kind of points this out in one of the books. It's like they couldn't really produce anything that was lower
Precision.
in
Yeah.
precision than this, because this was the state of the art
Yeah.
at the time. So they could have been connected to the power plant, or they could have been for some other purpose.
Right.
So it's hard to say.
Yeah, so he goes on here. He says, I am learning about the Serapeum through Uncharted X's show, which I recommend everybody check out. And then bouncing some questions off of Chuck from the YouTube channel CF Apps, which is and he comes on Uncharted X show a couple of times. But yeah, CF Apps is a great YouTube channel. He says, it seems like a topic that has no good answers, not surprisingly. Some folks think they're purely symbolic. Some think they were functional in a sense. Some care not to speculate. Some think probably both if it were inherited. We can tell, though, that whoever inscribed, which is a polite way of saying vandalized, that one box certainly did not possess the ability to create said box. What can you scaly, legless reptilian brethren tell me that I may not have heard? I know those big boxes can be found elsewhere in Egypt, some still under copious amounts of sand and rubbish, but if they did serve a function, could that expand the scale of the facility layout of the power plant? Or is that a stretch?
I don't think it is. I think absolutely.
I mean, the Watcher's saying batteries, capacitance, transformer. I mean, yeah, dude, all those. I think the point is that there's still, we don't know. We just don't know.
But it does seem that the purpose was to be sealed.
Yeah.
Whatever
they needed to be sealed.
They needed to be sealed. So then,
And I started thinking,
and whatever was inside did not need to be secured.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there would be holes, bolt holes, or some type of.
But the boxes themselves did need to be, because I was thinking,
yeah, they're in the sockets.
They set them in the sockets, so I'm like, what if they were vibrating or something? I mean, like, because otherwise you put a 70-ton box with a 30-ton lid in a room, it's not going anywhere. Why you got to put it down in a socket unless it could go somewhere if you didn't put it in a socket? I don't know.
Make it really hard to drag out of there.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a great question.
But you're right. The interior is so freaking smooth that it seems like that whatever they were putting in there, they didn't need to secure against movement.
The inside of the box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, Watcher's saying, what if they're part of the amplifying process?
Totally possible. We just don't know. He says so back to the snake bro here, Justin. He says, our Celtic snake bro, Justin. He says, one last question I have for you. While listening to episode numbers 116, I heard y'all talking about a place called America's Stonehenge in New Hampshire. Also,
That's right.
Yeah. Also, you briefly mentioned that Maine has a few rock piles or some intriguing ancient things, to which I was surprised to hear because I live for this shit and I live in Maine. If you could best provide any information on these sites, I can check them out before and after spring, and I'll send you guys some photos if interested. Now I'll slither over to the snakeskin sections. Thanks a lot, Justin. Snakes!
Thanks.
Yeah, so America's Stonehenge is in New Hampshire. Maine does have some sites. Justin, I'll get back to you on that. I'll have to send you an email because there's quite a few interesting sites in Maine, and some of them are open to the public that you can go check out. So,
yeah.
But yeah, New England and all that whole area is full of very interesting stuff. And some people are like, they're caves that the Vikings built. So
yeah, and then others are like colonial root cellars.
Yeah. Oh, and Anne wants to say, thank you for reading my recent email on the podcast. I have wanted to get that information on record in case it may someday be a threat for somebody to pull on. Best wishes, Anne. That's the detecting color by touch.
Oh, yeah.
I want people to try that experiment because I think that's really fascinating. And I've been thinking about it, Anne, more, I wanted to say, when I was reviewing the show and I was listening to your email again, of course, I'm thinking about it more and I'm like, all right, so you're right. When you're grabbing that color, you're mostly blocking the light from getting to it. But the reason that light is reflective off of that color is because of a vibration of the particular materials there.
That's right.
So that may be what you're detecting somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, the material, whether it's the paint or the actual material itself, is actually, the way you should look at it is that it's absorbing a certain frequency of energy.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the energy, and then of course it's going to heat it up, right? And then it will be actually projecting infrared,
right?
Because I don't know. So there's all kinds of.
It'll always project infrared unless it's absolute zero. So
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it's absorbing. It's absorbing these other frequencies.
That's not right. It'll be projecting. It'll be radiating infrared unless it's colder than the
background.
Than the background temperature. Yeah. Right. So yeah, and I wanted to read that on the show, and you're welcome, because I want the Snake Force to try this out.
But I also have a thing about trying to explain stuff with like, you know, the standard model physics.
Yeah. We're giving you the Skirptard explanation.
Not necessarily standard model of physics. It's sort of like a combination of kookiness and standard model physics.
Yeah. Look, all these things are vibrating, which is what the standard model says. So totally kooky, you can experience it, right?
Right.
Or whatever. Yeah. We're a perfect mix of the standard model and kooky here on the Brothers of the Serpent podcast.
But it could also be psychic, like Russ suggested. I mean,
It could be. You practiced it, and then you got good at it, and I don't know. You know, I mean, like I would want to see like legit double-blind tests.
You should try doing it with like sandwich meat or cheese. You know, just have like hold some cheese and be like, provolone. See if it goes beyond color.
But those actually do feel different, right? Like cheeses.
Oh yeah.
You know, you can tell the difference in the feel. But
sandwich meat.
All right.
Just give me a cold cut right on the palm. And see if I can guess it.
Yeah.
Turkey.
Yeah. Bologna.
I'm sorry. It's just off the top of my head. So.
Yeah.
Maybe all I'm trying to say is maybe see if you can expand that to something else.
Yeah.
You could do like this is a known thing. People have quote unquote perfect pitch. They hear a note at random and they can say, "Oh, that's this note, specific note." So you could try that. I don't know if you're a musician or not, but that would be interesting too. Because that's really hard to do. To just hear a note randomly and be like, "Oh, okay, that's a B flat," you know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same thing, in a way.
It is. I'm looking something up here because I just thought of this. Like,
except you're not seeing the color, so it's not the same thing.
There's something here. I'm looking this up. Let me find this. Psychometry is the word for psychic touch. Okay. Now, most people associate the ability, if it exists, of psychometry with the ability to like touch some object and you can detect its past or something, right? That's a lot of people, that's what psychometry, or even that you can absorb. So like, I remember reading a story about, you know, it was a fiction story, but about psychometry and a guy who had psychometric abilities. So he could get instruments that were played by very famous, awesome musicians, and just by putting his hand on the piano, suddenly he had all that guy's skills, and he could play the piano like that dude. But when he wasn't touching it, couldn't, you know, no piano skills. So that's these are the ideas of psychometry, but basically the psychometry is the idea of psychic touch. So maybe you have
cool.
something.
Maybe you do.
Yeah. Take a look at that.
Yeah.
We got engineers and, you know, analytical chemists and stuff in the Snake Force. We also need psychometrists.
Borrow a mathematician's pen.
Yeah. Go touch one of the pyramids.
Yes.
God dang it.
We got to take a break.
Okay, all right.
We'll be right back.
Yeah. Snakes! And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We went long on that last segment.
Yeah, it's becoming a thing.
Yeah, it's kind of becoming a thing. But it's okay. We're kind of like letting our hair down, relaxing a little bit. It's a Swapcast with Darren, and we're just getting through some emails, and at least that's what I feel like. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have stacks of notes with a book report going on.
Yeah,
here, so
yeah.
I feel like I'm just chilling.
We're going to start one up soon.
Yeah.
Maybe next time or
Yeah,
or the
we
time
got
after.
stories that have backed up because of the books and everything, so maybe we'll do one more show, possibly. We'll figure it out.
Now that Russ was saying, now that we found something you guys really like, we'll hold it off for a couple more episodes.
Yeah, we'll not do it for a little while. Keep you wanting more.
It's a brilliant idea. God, we're just great at marketing and such.
Yeah, we're geniuses at this, guys. All right. Couple more emails here.
Wait a second. Wait, before.
All right. Well, okay. Well,
I want to do this because we were talking about the psychic stuff.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
So I just want to tell this story that happened yesterday. I was just hanging out with some neighbors and my parents, having some wine, just visiting before my dad left
Some
town.
adult beverages.
Yeah, that's right.
Minding your own business, bothering no one.
And one of our neighbors, good friends, their granddaughter, who I've been around since basically a toddler,
Oh, yeah.
and now she's I think 12 or something.
Yeah.
So our neighbors were telling us that they basically she's driving around and she's looking at this local coffee shop. My neighbor. She's like,
Not the 12-year-old.
no, not the 12-year-old. She's driving with her granddaughter.
Right.
She's looking at the coffee shop. Like, man, I'm so glad we have that nice coffee shop because we have a tiny little town, right?
Yeah.
And the granddaughter goes, they're closing, and then she just like puts her hands on her face and she's like, I don't know why I said that. I don't even know. And the next day they closed.
Wow. Whoa.
And she says, my neighbor says that her granddaughter does this and has done this her entire life, basically.
Whoa.
She'll just blurt out stuff immediately after someone makes a comment or something.
Yeah.
And then she's always like, I don't know where that came from. I don't know why I said that, but it's true.
What? Wow.
And I was like, whoa, dude.
Wait
I gotta
a minute.
hold up.
Hold up. Yeah, where is that sound?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Exactly. I was like, I had to go home. I had to go to bed early because I had to get up early and all this. But I was just like, I want to talk to you more about this
Yeah.
at a later time.
And I want to ask her some questions.
Exactly. Who built the pyramids?
Yeah. Just don't think about it. Say the first thing that you think of.
So yeah, I was like, look, I definitely like to first. I like to get the physics out of the way, right? I got to sit and think about how stuff works. I got to think about vibrating particles or little pockets of energy bouncing off of each other and all of these things, and try to come up with some way that the physics could work to explain it. And if I end up all wet at the end of that, just like there's no way, then most likely, I'm going to be like, okay, then it's something more. This is supernatural.
Yeah.
Because I also believe in that. So
That's right. I like and you've pushed me towards this a lot, and I like the idea of like, we have models that are based on observations, like more observation based, right? So we have all these observations, and we can use those, and if we can't explain what we're seeing with those, then you've got this hole there, and you're like, okay, so it could be supernatural or something we don't understand yet, which are the same thing in a way.
Could both be the same thing,
yeah.
right?
And yeah, I agree. The watcher wants to take her to buy lottery tickets. Yeah, so that'll work. This will work this way. You buy the ticket, and she's like, "That one loses." I don't know why I said that. He'll have to buy a lot of lottery tickets before she's like, "That one's gonna win."
All right, so
That's cool. Yeah.
yeah, well, I'll dig deeper into that situation.
Yeah.
and come back and
me
maybe-
too, because that she's cool too. By the way.
Yeah.
Like she's real cool. And yes, we have known her since she was very young. She's really awesome. She's growing up into be a really cool person, and hilarious. So, all right. So this is from Frank. This is from Commander Frank. He says, first time emailer from Frank. What's happening, Snake Bros? It's Frank, longtime Serpent Bro, but first-time emailer. So far, I've managed to check out the majority of the episodes and was even able to coherently absorb at least half of those sods after checking them out a few more times.
Sods.
Yeah, calls them sods. And he was able to coherently absorb them after listening to them a couple of more times. And I must say the show just keeps getting better with each new sode. I haven't been listening or watching the sodes in their numerical order, though, but instead I have let the force, so to speak, lead me to the one to check out, which ironically would always seem to be focusing on, or would always seem to correlate with whatever topic I was happening to be focusing on at that particular time. Cosmic tuning alignment of the universal consciousness, perhaps, ? Though I feel kind of apprehensive about verbally placing any of the sodes in any sort of qualifying pecking order because I think they're all great and always packed with, don't know that word, bandoodoo's?
Sounds like a great word.
Bandoodoo's. Full of all kinds of awesome info. I think the Giza Power Plant / Chris Dunn series is definitely an awesome series. It's probably safe to say your series on Chris Dunn and his work is one of the best Chris Dunn interviews and features out there. But the Cosmographia series, the Younger Dryas Impact Hypothesis, and anything else that significantly correlates with the origins of humanity since the last time the world ended is what I find fascinating and just as important. It seems humanity has worked itself into a corner since the end of the late Pleistocene, and I believe it's obvious to any critical thinker that it's not entirely all our fault. There was another natural proponent that's entirely made up of the wheels within wheels that rotates and revolves with the cosmic tempo and keeps the universe alive. And even a struggling Adamu Apiru old-timer like me can see from the current compiled accepted evidence in the archives of academia that it's more than likely going to happen again. God, this guy writes
you
like
write, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Really cool.
Please write a book so that we can do a report on it.
The last sode I just finished checking out was 107, Dabbler's Den, with Chris Cottrell, and that was real interesting, super cool, and informative interview. It's awesome that you guys have been able to consistently maintain featured guests with authentic credentials and backgrounds, but also still open-minded enough to explore all the probabilities, no matter how unorthodox the probabilities might be. I wish I had teachers like Chris and Randall when I actually went to school back then. I'm sure I wouldn't have skipped out of my last few years of the high school days just to chase after one of the dangerously impossible pipe dreams that today's society, or more specifically the system, is currently indoctrinating the world with. I've already said this 3 times in some of the other Snake Bros online communicative platforms, but this is the first time in an email, so I've concluded it's worthy of an updated reiteration. You bros still rock like it was meant to be, still asking the right questions, extremely pertinent questions in my opinion, while leaving no stones unturned. I'm so glad I finally found an awesome spot to set up camp. Also, if it's okay, could you guys give a big "What's up, Snake Bros" to the Discord and Facebook group for me? A huge thanks if you can. Yeah, so what's up, Snake Bros? Well, till next time, peace and snacks, Frank E.M. Thanks, Frank. Man, what a great freaking email.
You are a fearless leader, Frank.
That's right. The watcher says the commander has used the words sods and bandoodoo's. They are part of the vernacular now. Use them as often as possible. Snake Force.
Bandoodoo's. I like the way you spelled that there, watcher.
Yeah. It's not quite how he spelled it, but it's close enough. Yeah, let's see.
How does he spell it?
Let me get it. I gotta find it in here. It was BANDUDDUS. So close. You just had one fewer D in the second D. After the first U, there should be 2 Ds, is how he spelled it. So maybe it's bandoodoo's? I don't know.
Is this like maybe the music? Band?
Band dudes? Bandudus? I don't know.
Bandoodoo's.
Bandoodoo's.
New word.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to be making up words and spelling them in weird ways, expect me to mispronounce them. Just
No. We need you to create the pronouncement of new words. The pronunciation of new words. That's right. Otherwise, we will all be misled forever.
Yeah, that's right. All right, this is interesting. Since Darren actually live streamed our Swapcast with him in the Cube on Saturday, it went out onto YouTube on Grimerica's, and so some people have watched it. So this is actually an email about this show that I'm going to get to read on this show.
Wow. Thanks, Darren.
Also,
going live.
Also from Angie. She says, "Hey guys, listening to the live with Grimerica, not live. While driving home, great job to all of y'all. Just wanted to say, we are all trying to figure this shit out, and it sure does help, at least for me, to know that there are others contemplating these same subjects. We are all subject to money and time, but as for someone who loves what y'all have done so far, I can say the way you guys have steered clear of politics is one of the reasons why I keep listening to it. It makes me nauseous to hear people rant about their personal beliefs, and it creates so many divides between people." Yes.
Yes.
Angie, thank you. Angie! All right, that's it for the emails and for the, we're totally caught up. So.
All right.
Yeah. Anything else? We're about done here. We're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean that's like right on the 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Feels like a short show though.
Yeah, it was. I mean, because we've split it in half.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do that more often.
Possibly. I mean, the Grimerica model is interview the people whenever, and then actually do the intros and outros all together on Sunday.
But nope. Like Angie said, we're doing it right.
Right.
Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's hard to get the momentum going and then like break it up. You know? But this has been, because like I kind of want to just sit here for another hour.
Well, we will be because we have Cosmographia coming up.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, and sorry if anybody's following that. Like I haven't published any of the audio on the audio feed.
The audio for 13 and 14 should be coming up quick and soon because that's in the hopper. So those will probably be published right next to each other, as far as I know. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys can get a hold of us, brothersoftheserpent@gmail.com. Go to the website, brothersoftheserpent.com. Check out the encyclopedia, the glossary there, the snakeskins, which is our merchandise store. Join the pyramid scheme, help support the show. You can do that through Patreon or through one-time donation through PayPal. The buttons are right there on the website. Give us reviews on iTunes, like I said before. Share the shows anywhere you can. That always helps. Follow us on Twitter @SnakeBros with no vowels, SNKBRS. Join the Facebook group, which is run by Jordan. Join the Discord, which you can find a link to, basically an invite link on the website. Just go to the website and you can see Discord, the snake pit.
Yeah.
Also, the Library of the Serpent, run by Jeff. Thanks very much to him for that. Follow History Shift @History Shift, and you can find him on YouTube, Twitter, and he's got a website, historyshift.com. Also, Pod Doodles turns our podcast into doodles. He's doing another one right now.
I think I just saw a post on Twitter.
Yeah, he's halfway through crop circles and UFOs.
All right.
Gonna be a great one.
Cool.
Yeah. Cosmographia, which we do with Randall Carlson. Follow that. You can find it on Geocosmic Rex YouTube channel and on Cosmographia. The CAC 2020 Scabland trip is still coming up. I think there's only a few spots left. Sign up if you want to go. So,
yep.
Also, thanks to Where Did the Road Go, Uncharted X, Mike and Maurice's Mind Escape, the C-Word Podcast, Grimerica, of course, and Conspiranormal. We love all you guys. Thank you so much for all your support. Yep. Always have.
Yep.
Always will. Good night, Adamu. Get back to work. Woo.